Hello and welcome to Group Chat. I'm your host Bentley, and today I'm excited to welcome back Pat Kelly, filmmaker and director of content creation here at Buffalo Toronto Public Media, Dallas Taylor, performer, poet, and multimedia content editor here at Buffalo Toronto Public Media. And I'm so excited to welcome our new guest, Alexa Zappia, an Emmy-nominated casting producer who has worked on several television shows, including The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Love is Blind, and Squid Game, The Challenge, and more. Alexa is also the founder and director of Rocks of Unity, a philanthropic organization promoting diversity and unity through kindness, which has grown into a global movement across 25 countries. When do you sleep, girl?
Barely.
We will be talking about that, actually.
We will be talking about it, yes.
Stay tuned.
Yes.
Today we're talking all things media, from sci-fi and thrillers to survival shows, sitcoms, and reality TV guilty pleasures. But first, we like to get to know everybody or check back in with people on their status and their current group chat. So, Patrick, how you doing in your group chats?
I'm good. I'm checking in on my people. I feel like I'm trying to engage more. It's funny. I feel like being on the show made me realize that I'm a bit of a hermit in the group chat and will just fall off the face of the planet. So I feel like now I'm trying to engage more with my folks.
What are some of the topics that come up as of late?
It's a lot of silliness.
Yeah.
And just trying to keep the levity up.
Yeah.
So a lot of funny memes and inside jokes, that kind of stuff.
Dallas, well, first of all, how is your cat?
He's even more annoying now, but it's all out of love. It's all out of love. He just talks a lot. He wants to be cuddled even when I'm working. Like, no, I can't. I have to pay the bills, so you have to go do something else right now. So he's doing okay. He's nice and fat.
I've been wondering about that. And how about your role in your group chats now? What are some of the topics? Has your role changed?
I'm the opposite of Pat, where this show has kind of helped me kind of just stand in my ways of I'm completely out of the group chat.
Yeah.
Like I get the notifications like, all right, it's cool. And to my friends listening, I apologize. I'm not actively ignoring you. It's just that it's that time of the year. I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good for now.
Yeah.
Winter hibernation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which started in July.
And we'll go until next July.
Yeah. Alexa, how about you? What role do you play in your group chats? What are some of the topics?
Oh, I'm the one to initiate. I am the one to initiate. And just, I guess, based off of my life and, what I do, it's all Bravo related, all Real Housewives related. And, because I'm so blessed to have so many friends from all over the country, I was just in the group chat about this the other day. I hate my West Coasters that they're not on East Coast, so I can't spoil any Real Housewives anything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I wish everyone just lived in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Or, lived up here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I am the one to initiate. But then I drop those, oh, I hate that you're West Coast, but you gotta watch Real Housewives of New Jersey or New York before Beverly Hills. And I'm not going to say why, and I'll leave it like that.
But it is kind of nice. You don't have to worry about if it's late at night and you think of something that you want to text them there earlier. So that's a good part.
Oh, yeah.
When I have friends in LA, I'm like, oh, I can actually text you now and not feel like...
Oh, my friends in LA are my favorite people.
Yeah.
They literally are. I am obsessed with them.
Yeah. It's like midnight here and you don't have to feel like a creeper.
No,
texting them at midnight.
Not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
There are always pros and cons.
Yes.
So... Alexa, I'm excited to talk about your role and your job because of, some things that you just mentioned.
Yes.
Some of the things we're going to talk about today. One of the things we're going to start off with are thrillers and sci-fi. And one of the things I learned in putting together this show with our producer, I think that I don't always think of sci-fi and thrillers together. I always think of sci-fi as monsters and aliens, and there can be an overlap. I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say about this, Pat.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the things that brought up this conversation is it's American Psycho's 25th anniversary. It was released in the U.S. in April of 2000, and everybody's really talking about this now. So what do you think makes it relevant now, 25 years later? Why is it such an important movie to celebrate an anniversary for?
I feel like it's like taken off online again, like even before the anniversary was talked about, because I always see like Patrick Bateman memes, and I feel like it's, I mean, I don't know, my cousin is Gen Z, and he said for some reason there's a lot of his friends will share Patrick Bateman memes, so I feel like that has kind of like brought it up in the zeitgeist again, and so now that it's like the anniversary, I guess, you know, it's more cause to celebrate,
So
even though
the
it's such a
memes.
weird movie to,
Yeah.
to bring
Yeah.
up.
I know. Yeah, maybe the memes helped with that, Dallas.
I've not seen it. I've
Yeah.
not, but that's pretty much my role. I don't watch movies, and but I know of the name of the movie.
Yeah.
But I always thought Patrick Bateman, he must be related to Jason Bateman. So that was my correlation there. But in researching the show, I did watch a couple of clips of it, and there's no way that I would watch or even finish this movie. It's way too, it's past the line of, all right, that's too much blood and all of that for me. My imagination is too malleable.
Yeah.
I'll close my eyes and see it. Same with Donnie Darko. I didn't sleep for days after that. So
Yeah.
Really? And that wasn't bloody. It was just dark.
yeah.
Yeah. It made you think a
Yeah.
lot.
American Psycho goes off the rails at points. I remember
Yeah.
watching that probably too young, and
Yeah.
there's a few scenes that if you don't like Donnie Darko, you probably wouldn't sleep for like a month after watching
Yeah.
American Psycho.
Yeah, I feel like I love Donnie Darko and I can't watch American Psycho for the same reason that Dallas said. I watched parts, I've researched it in the past for other things, and I'm like, I can't do it. Alexa, in your world, you always have to be keeping track of trends and things
Yeah.
like that. Do you see American Psycho popping back up again, or people talking about it?
See, my world is so different
Yeah.
because I, both as like me as a person and me as a producer, I am all in that reality television sphere.
Yeah.
So yes, do I see it on social media? Yes, but like my feeds are all reality based.
Yeah.
But I know obviously what it is, and I know the hype around it. So, I mean, I feel like that's with any trend. Like it goes, and then it comes, and it goes again. You're like, wait, this
Yeah.
was something from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So if it follows that cycle of just like what history has done, yeah, sure.
So what do you think makes something come back after 25 years or 20 years? Because not everything is coming back. Is it because it's an easy meme, or it's so messed up that people don't forget about it?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like with the internet, it's so hard to tell now what's
Yeah.
gonna go viral and take off as something, because it could be something as innocuous as the way somebody delivers a line, where then people are just like, oh, this is a funny little snippet, and we'll just take it out of context, and then it just goes off from there. And then sometimes they'll reboot something and people are watching the original, and then it'll go off from there. So
Yeah.
I don't know, there's so many different avenues. I feel like it's hard to tell what will take off.
It's a lot of rediscovery too, like with, we'll call them the newer generation, newer kids. They find something that we've already seen before. It's like our parents listen to a song.
Yeah.
We hear a song like, oh, this is cool. Like, well, you know where that came from? And they play the old version. And then
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
that rediscovery, especially now with social media, internet.
Yeah.
Like, you can just find anything on there. Like when Columbo had its reboot or whatever, like, oh, what is this? I fell into like, oh, what is Columbo? I started watching it more.
That's an interesting choice to bring up.
Yeah,
And
I love Columbo.
I feel like TikTok is really good at that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where something like the Kate Bush song being
Yeah.
in Stranger Things, and then all of a sudden everybody on TikTok was just using that song in every TikTok, and ended up making it back up on the top of the charts for the first time in 20 years. That's something that, those are the types of random things
Yeah.
that it just happens.
Well, I think soundtracks too are a big thing, especially with David Lynch just passing away. I mean, I think I gravitated toward his movies because of the soundtracks, but those were definitely thrillers, you would say, right?
Yeah, like surreal
Yeah.
thrillers.
Yeah, yeah. So a soundtrack can also, I think, make that happen. How do you think interactive marketing campaigns can change the way an audience engages with like sci-fi movies? So if a production company sends out characters to,
Like
sit at an
Severance.
Love
NFL
that.
game, or
Genius.
yeah.
Should be doing more of this.
I think it helps that we're now in a time where you can pretty much try and do anything and see if it works. And if it doesn't, then if it does work, then genius. And if it doesn't work, then you get ridiculed, but you still get the same attention for it. So
Yeah.
either way, it works out. But it's just a matter of, let's just give it a shot. Let's see if they'll notice these random characters in a crowd of an NFL game.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then all right, these people got a free ticket to a game, and
Yeah.
people see it on like, what was that? Did you see that weird thing? And then it catches on. So
Yep.
it's just a matter of marketing now is just giving things a try, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And if it does work, then hey, we tried something new and it worked.
Yeah. You know, I know this is something we're going to talk about later, but it might even be off topic. I don't know. But I think about planning people at games, and I think about Fitzpatrick being at the Bills game.
Yeah.
And like he took his shirt off at a game, and that turned into so many memes. And now, now this year in a playoff game, they have him on the field doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like he rejuvenated his career somewhat.
Yeah,
Now he's
true.
with a media company,
Yeah, it's true.
all because of placement. You know?
Timing is right. Timing is everything.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I feel like social media now too really plays a huge part in viral marketing, because even 10 years ago it wouldn't have taken off as much as it can now.
Yeah.
With like Severance coming back and them doing the stunt in Grand Central where they have like the panes of glass and the actors are just sitting there. Such a high traffic area, you have a million cameras walking past and filming that and then posting that. So that's constantly being perpetuated. And 10 years ago, before, I mean, smartphones were still ubiquitous then, but even more so now. Back then, it might be a bit of a blip, where when I was living in the city, they did I forgot the name of the show. It was a HBO show, Leftovers, and they did a viral marketing campaign, or tried to, where it was a bunch of people wearing like white to be in this cult, and they just walked down the street. And in the moment, it was just kind of weird, where viral marketing was just kind of starting.
Yeah.
And we were just thinking, oh, that's just a normal New York City occurrence.
I think you need the cameras around for people to pay attention,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're like, yeah, this is
that's
just happening.
totally, yeah.
That's just
New
a
York.
cult. It's a cult. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in Buffalo, maybe not, but like
Yeah.
in New York, everyone's like, oh, it's so normal. A cult
Yeah.
going down the street?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Or people walking around in costumes, sure.
For
like,
sure.
that's just their day.
And
For
now
sure.
I feel like there's an expectation when you see something like that in a high density area. You start to think, oh, okay, what is this? Is this a stunt?
Yeah.
Is this, what are they trying to promote?
I feel like you have to do that now, because you're not going to go and put an ad for your show in a paper or on somebody's website. You have to be where the people are, and like your press is now the people with their phones and cameras and
Yeah.
social media.
Right.
Like that's where you're going to get the attention. So you have to go where they are and be with them, because
Yeah,
they're not going
right.
to go to a website to see it. They're not going to go to a paper and see it. They're going to skip the ads on YouTube. Like, 5 seconds, 5, 4, skip ad, and we're straight to back to what I want to watch. So you got to
Yeah.
be with the people.
Yeah.
Pat, so can you explain a little bit about I think you're a good person to explain the Severance situation, because Severance is coming back
Yeah,
for
great
season
show.
2.
Yeah.
So what was the exact setup? How did this work?
For the marketing stuff,
Yeah.
they, in the middle of Grand Central Station, they had basically like this big cubicle, and all the walls on the outer part of the cubicle were glass, and it's kind of like a big fishbowl in the middle of Grand Central. And then they had the actors, Adam Scott, and the rest of the crew, sit down at their little tiny cubicles and then just work. And that's all that they did. And people walked by, and it just, it kind of draws enough interest that you're like, oh, I know that person from something. Oh, that's John Turturro. And yeah, they just ignored everybody around them, and it kind of was this cool interactive voyeuristic stunt.
Yeah.
But really popular, because all my friends down in New York were passing through the station, were like, yeah, I just saw this is like going on. And I thought that was kind of cool.
What do you think, how do you think thrillers and sci-fi kind of lend themselves to this type of marketing? Because it is there usually are weird situations or weird costumes that sort of stand out.
Yeah, I feel like with viral marketing stunts, you have to have enough intrigue. Like it can't just be somebody explaining what the show is. It has to be a bit of a slice of the essence of the show.
Yeah.
So with Severance, them doing that, I thought it was cool, because in the show, it takes place in this dystopian future where there's this megacorp, and they have access to your brain. Basically, they put a chip in your brain, and when you go down into the basement level of your office, they turn you into a different person, and you don't remember what life is like upstairs. So when you come down to work, all you know is work. and the entire company has this big panopticon where they can have surveillance cameras and they can just view you. So it's extremely voyeuristic, and the show itself is a commentary on, invasion of like privacy and overreach by companies, and what do we do in our private life versus work life. So that's like a whole different conversation. But with the stunt itself, it really got to the core, I felt, of what the show's about. And it's having all of these eyes looking down on you at all times, or the potential for it, and with the actors just sitting there, like they just have to act and pretend to work and ignore the reality of, what's outside these walls. So yeah, it gets at the core of the show. And I thought that was a really cool stunt.
Alexa, you got a look on your face and it was how I was feeling in your personal life and the things that you watch. Like when you were explaining this, and I was just like, nope, not gonna watch it.
Not gonna watch it, but like at the same time, I was just in, not Grand Central, but Penn Station, and now I'm just imagining this in the middle. I'm like, wait, what? Like, no, what?
Yeah.
But like also it's so odd, but so New York at the same time. Where like not everyone, again, going back to that wearing white cult example, right? Where it's like, okay, like I guess this could fly in New York because it's New York, and like something like this could totally fly like that. You know what I mean? But like if I'm trying to picture as you're talking, like me just like with all my stuff in Grand Central, like do I stop? Do I look? I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like how I would react is so interesting.
Yeah. I also thought it was cool because just the position, because you have people constantly coming and going, catching a train, going up to Westchester, out to Connecticut, whatever. They're going to be standing there regardless, waiting for a train. So in a way, it's like if you just position this right here, now you have something that somebody's going to be standing there for 10 minutes regardless. You're just going to capture their attention, and they're going to stand there. It's going to break up their day.
Yeah.
If they haven't seen the show, they're going to instantly probably want to go watch it. I mean, at least for me, that's if I hadn't seen the show and I was waiting for my train, I would be going home or even watching the episode on the train.
I was just going to say, this is
Yeah.
probably your entertainment on the train. Like what did I just watch? Okay, I have to Google this. I have to like, doom scroll on TikTok and like figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And then I'm like sucked in.
Then
And
you're
like,
sucked in.
and when you look at marketing, genius. You did what you're supposed to do. That was it.
In case you're just joining us, you're listening to Group Chat. I'm your host, Bentley, here with Pat Kelly, who is a filmmaker and director of content creation here at Buffalo Toronto Public Media. Dallas Taylor, performer, poet, and multimedia content editor. And Alexa Zappia, an Emmy-nominated casting producer who has worked on so many reality shows. We're going to get into all of those, one being The Bachelor, Love is Blind, Squid Game. We're talking right now about sci-fi and thrillers and the marketing behind that. Pat, before I ask Dallas his view on sci-fi and thrillers, can you just explain to us, if you had to just sum up explain a sci-fi and a thriller and how they overlap?
Yeah, I mean, so they're not, mutually exclusive. I feel like sci-fi is a pretty broad category because you have like hard sci-fi, which lives in the reality of physics and the real world, and then there's like fantasy sci-fi, which can kind of break all those rules, and you get like more crossover. And then thriller almost is a separate genre, but there's like a ton of overlap because you can have a thriller sci-fi, like slow thriller sci-fis or like fast. So I feel like with thrillers, it's almost like an element of storytelling and how you deliver information. And sci-fi is more about the nature of technology and how it relates to the human condition.
So thrillers scare me, but sci-fi, you have to be dressed up like a monster or something?
Yeah. Well, so
good analogy.
With thriller, I always think of so Alfred Hitchcock is like one of my favorite filmmakers, and he had these rules for, he was considered the master of suspense and kind of perfected the thriller, the idea of the thriller. And he always had the rule of it's about what you do and do not show your audience, but also the main characters. So he was always famous for his classic setup was deliver information to the audience, but not to the main character, and then just play the scene as you normally would. And that instantly creates this idea of suspense or like this thrilling aspect for the audience. And his film Rope, which is phenomenal, has this simple setup where these two guys end up killing their mutual friend as this weird philosophical exercise, and then they just stuff his body in a trunk and then decide to host a little salon party with a bunch of people over. And as the audience, like, you know that there's a body in the trunk, but then the rest of the film, they're just carrying on like it's a party. And if you watch it without that information, you're going to say, wow, this is kind of a boring movie about just them hanging out at a party talking. But having that knowledge of that there's a body right here in the trunk, you're instantly like, oh my God, Jimmy Stewart's walking over by it. Is he going to open it? And
well, I think the marketing around Alfred Hitchcock was always like just these scary scenes. So, but if you really dove into Hitchcock, there were a lot of subtle scary things. So people like saw him as one way because of the marketing around him later on in life, later on in past his time.
I feel like they get the idea of Psycho when you think of Alfred Hitchcock, and it's the violin, like and the stabbing. But I just saw Rear Window at the Dryden Theater in Rochester, and
was that the first time you saw that?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, if you're a Hitchcock fan, you've probably seen that like 15 times,
yeah,
right?
That was probably my 15th time.
Okay.
But they had Martin Scorsese's personal 35 millimeter print.
Really?
As a film nerd, I was like in heaven. But so I went and saw it, and what I loved about that is it's like you don't leave Jimmy Stewart's apartment. The whole camera doesn't leave his apartment. So you, as the audience, you're kind of like along for the ride with Jimmy Stewart. He's got a broken leg. He can't leave the apartment. All he has is this telephoto lens on his camera because he's a photographer. So he thinks he witnesses a murder across the alleyway from his building. And Grace Kelly decides at one point in the movie to go investigate and go over there. And as she's navigating through the building, you get this great dollhouse-like view of the apartment building across the way. So you see her like going up the stairs, you see her coming down the hallway, go into this guy's apartment, and she's rooting around, and he's looking through at the camera, and then the guy who owns the apartment comes back. But you see him enter, like you see him come through the entryway and then up the stairs. And right as he gets to the door and goes to go in, as the audience, we all know what's coming, but Grace Kelly doesn't. There was somebody in the audience, I think she was like sitting right down the row from us, and it was her first time seeing it, I think. She must have been like 13 or 14 and screamed out loud. And it was just a great reaction.
Great. Yeah.
And that was like, that to me is the idea of a thriller and like the pinnacle of it.
Yeah.
It's outside, nothing is really happening. You know, it's just a woman in an apartment going through stuff, and then a guy coming home. But once you combine all those factors, and you know that she's going to get caught. He might be a murderer. He might not be.
He's not trying, seeing Jimmy Stewart, and he's not trying to save Christmas.
No,
it's like,
I know.
It's like
and
you're not like,
he's just sitting there. So all the elements on their own in a vacuum don't add up to this like idea of it being a thriller. But once you put all that together in context as the audience, that's when you have this really cool, experience.
Dallas, does any of this that we're talking about make you want to watch more thrillers or more sci-fi?
I think it's explaining more of why I don't watch it. Because it, like, to what I'm hearing, like, it lets the watcher put it to their interpretation a little bit and like use their imagination. I don't want to use my imagination because it's far more, I guess, disturbing to me. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's the point of it. It's like a social experience. Like, we're talking about the marketing of some of these movies, and it's like those cult classics, but you have to do it in like a social experiment kind of way, because that's what kind of the movie is kind of trying to entail, especially American Psycho, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just makes me, I have an interest in having an interest.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. I won't watch alone, of course, and I'll definitely watch during the day, like at 1 p.m., not at 11 o'clock at night.
Did you ever watch Black Mirror on
I
Netflix?
watched 3 episodes, and I was like, yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
We can go back to the kids' side of
No,
Netflix.
that's why because I would watch some of those episodes and I would be disturbed for a week at a time. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about them.
Because I feel like that's a perfect example of an overlap of sci-fi and like the thriller genre. It's where you have this element of technology taken to its logical extension, and then you mix in those elements of suspense, and it creates a really disturbing vision of the future.
We're going to lighten things up a little bit, even though I don't know that walking around naked in the woods is anything better. But when we come back from the break, we're talking about survival shows and how our guests maintain their health, wellness, and creativity in the media industry. That's up next on Group Chat. Don't go away.
Support for Group Chat is provided by our members and by the National Comedy Center.
Thanks for joining us again on Group Chat. I'm your host, Bentley, and I'm joined by Pat Kelly, filmmaker and director of content creation here at Buffalo Toronto Public Media, Dallas Taylor, performer, poet, and multimedia content editor at Buffalo Toronto Public Media, and Alexa Zappia, Emmy-nominated casting producer and founder and director of Rocks of Unity. And you have worked on so many shows, including The Bachelor, Squid Game, Love is Blind. There's a lot of them. And Big Brother Canada, too. Yeah. So right now we're going to talk about survival shows. So Squid Game would be in that realm, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Does everybody watch survival shows? Did you watch them? They're kind of making a comeback now. Some of the older ones, people are having parties. Mm-hmm. You watch survival shows, Dallas?
I watched a little bit of Survivor. Would Fear Factor count?
Yeah, right?
That was like one of the original.
Yeah. That was like...
I put that in that category.
Yeah.
You have to survive Joe Rogan, so...
Yeah.
Sorry.
I forgot about that part.
That's right. Yeah, that was my jam, coming home from school and seeing Fear Factor. It's like, all right, we can skip this first round. Eat the bugs. That's what I want to see. Eat the bugs. Can you sit in that bucket of centipedes?
Wait.
That cave-dwelling spider?
No.
That was...
You cannot do sci-fi or anything scary, but you can watch people eat bugs?
Because I don't have to imagine it, because I'm seeing it there. And I'll watch people try to eat maggots.
Which is funny because I feel like the concept of that is almost like a sci-fi setup. It's dystopian in a way where we're going to give you money and we're going to put a bunch of cameras on you and put it to millions of people, and you're just going to eat these bugs.
Yeah, and no one's dying. And I think that helps. Like no one's dying, and also I can watch it. Like I can do that. For $10,000.
Could you see yourself?
You can eat. You would be able to do that
for $10,000.
Oh, peace out, Girl Scout. I'm done.
No.
Nuh-uh.
Would you do the cave dwelling spider, like with the pincers?
Wait, you had to eat that? Did they have to eat it, or just what?
Well, maybe they just held that one. I don't know. They had to eat some bugs.
If the number's large enough, I'd do it.
Really?
I'd do it.
I'd do it.
Especially someone's trash talking, like, you can't do it. Oh, watch this. Watch it. I'll put barbecue sauce on it. Let's dine out.
What do you think draws people to watching these types of shows?
That's a really good question. I think that they always like to, I could be wrong, but envisioning themselves in there.
That's it.
Like you just said, right? Like you just said, like, can I see myself eating bugs? Can I see myself doing XYZ challenge? Because if not, I might as well watch someone else do it, because like I'm certainly not going to do it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, easier said than done. Right? When you imagine that, and then it's funny being on the opposite side of that, when you actually get a call from a producer asking you to be on the show, and you're like, we never thought that was actually going to happen. And then they like get put in, they're like, that's really hard. So I think it's that separation of like, what I want to do, what can I do? But like, actually, what can I do?
What
like,
can you
know what I mean?
really
like, what can
do?
you actually do?
In theory versus
in
practice.
theory versus in versus in practice. So I think people get that excitement of like, oh, it's so easy. Yeah. I'll do it.
And you see that on the shows, in shows like Survivor and Naked and Afraid, and where people are like, yeah, I got this, and then they're naked and afraid.
Oversimplify it. Like, oh, you just got to stay in the woods naked. I'll do that.
I got it.
For $500,000. Yeah, I can do that. And it's much easier. You can see yourself doing that other than watching like the Bills play. Oh, you can. Yeah, how could you not catch that? Or how could you not? How could that guy catch you? With these shows, like, oh, yeah, I can jump out of a helicopter and stay up. Like I can eat a bug. I can stay in the woods and do all this kind of stuff. It's much more easier to see yourself doing that than some of the other things. And I think we oversimplify it.
Totally.
We make it that point. Like, oh, yeah.
Totally. And I also
easy.
think, too, that, like, there's a, like you said, you oversimplify it. But there's a separation between, like I said, can you do it, can you not? But it's a physical thing. But it's, I think, yes, it's physical. I'm not going to say it's not. But it's also mental. So when you're in that, when you're watching it, you don't have that mental turn on, right? Of like you have to tune in. But then when you're on set or you're doing that and you're, you know, on Survivor or Fear Factor, you automatically get this sense of like, oh shoot, that was a part of my brain that was not activated before. Can I actually do this?
Yeah.
It's a different experience.
Interesting. Kind of goes back to your sci-fi and thriller analogy there too.
Yeah.
Now, more and more of these shows have popped up. You know, in the beginning it was Survivor, and what was the other one? The Joe Rogan.
Fear Factor.
Fear Factor.
Yeah.
But now there's so many. So obviously there's a market for it. What makes it so addictive?
I think it's the idea of like, if you were, like it's the potential. And if I was in that position, would I be able to survive? I feel like with, at least for me, that's what kind of got me more into, weirdly, like camping and backpacking, was watching Man vs. Wild with Bear Grylls or Survivor Man with Les Stroud. And it was going out into the wild and saying, "Oh, can I survive if I got in this situation where my plane crashed and I was out in the bush for a week? What would I do to survive?" I feel like it just gives you that idea of, you know, prepping. It's like, oh, if I was ever in that circumstance, you know, what would the steps I need to take to do that?
Yeah.
So it makes it more easily digestible.
If I could only bring one thing, what would that be?
Yeah.
Are we just coddled as Americans, so we watch all these shows that are we can't be in our air-conditioned apartment? What?
Yes.
You know?
Why? Take that away from me? Oh my God, how dare you?
I think so, because in those moments we can't be proven wrong that we can't do it. Like I could watch Bear Grylls, like, all right, if I go down the hill sideways, I won't fall down and die. Like, all right, you can think that, but if you're watching Jeopardy, like, oh, what is it? And it's wrong. It's like, oh, all right, maybe I'm not that good at Jeopardy. Or Wheel of Fortune,
right
like,
away.
there's an F in there. Like, oh, there are no F's in there. So you know right away.
Yeah.
But those shows are like, all right, in my head, I can do this.
Yeah, and mundane stuff too. Where, like, I liked Survivor Man, Les Stroud's, because he also showed you how to forage and survive. And what always got me was he was like, well, if you eat this berry, it's delicious, or this mushroom, it's delicious. But if you eat this one, it'll kill you. And they look really similar. And that's where I was like, oh, I feel like that's something most people would underestimate in a survival situation. And they're not going to know what's going to kill them and what's not.
Yeah.
And that's the type of... for me, it was eye-opening where I'm like, yeah, maybe I should pay attention to some of this stuff.
Yeah. Alexa, what do you think the similarity is between all of these shows, these Survivor shows, now that we have so many Squid Game and all of these other shows that we have?
I think it's the ability, no matter what format it is, what show it is, to take, whether it's a scripted or unscripted, whatever, if you're acting or you're not, to take humans and put them in this society of like doing it. You know what I mean? And just like not even thinking about it, but thinking about it, but like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like having to really push yourself. And obviously with Squid Game that's a scripted version and an unscripted version. And when you are on the unscripted version, it's like, oh, okay, I can be like the actors. I can do this. I can, and even like Fear Factor and all those are unscripted shows, but it's pushing that line a little bit. Like, how far can I go without getting eliminated or without whatever, but doing my best without going too far.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of stretches the means of reality a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah. And there's always interesting characters on these shows, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It's not like Next Door Neighbor Joe, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it is, but it's not all Next Door Neighbor Joes, you know?
Exactly.
I feel
I
those
like to
moments-
make it interesting.
Yeah, I feel those moments push a little bit of that character out of them.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, maybe $64,000 is too little for me to
Yeah.
eat a bug on TV, so I'll bow out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case you're just joining us, you're listening to Group Chat. I'm your host, Bentley, here with Pat Kelly, Dallas Taylor, and Alexa Zappia. And we've been talking about survival shows. And so now it's kind of, is it ironic or funny that we're going to talk about survival in media? We all work in the media industry in some capacity. And it's not an easy industry to work in. It's constantly changing. I think we're out there for people to share their opinions all the time.
Yes.
So how do you keep going? What are some of the things that you do to stay sane in the media world?
That's a great question. That's a good
And
question.
please tell me so I can
Yes,
know.
absolutely. I will go on a soapbox rant about this because this is like my thing. So yes, I'm obsessed with my job. I'm obsessed with who I work with. Like I could not have asked for a better job. This is me. Yes, as you said though, being in the media and being in this industry is a lot. It's a lot of a lot of work. It's a lot of time and stuff like that. However, everyone knows this on my team that I don't take my break to eat lunch. I just don't do that. I eat at my desk. My break is I have to work out. And that is my thing. So I work out 6 days a week. That is so important to me. I work out 3 days with my trainer doing like weight training and stuff like that. And then for anyone in Buffalo, I go to Rebel Ride. On Wednesday nights, I go to Spin with Lynn, which I'm obsessed with. And then on Thursdays, I go to yoga with Sherry. And so when you look at like those classes, right, Spin, first of all, Lynn is amazing at what she does. And she's so passionate about what she does. And she's so, empowering. But then when you go to the class, it's like super hype and we're singing and we're doing choreo. And it also helps that Lynn puts in like a Jonas Brothers song for me every week. But like that's besides the point. But then when you look at like yoga, right, again, with Sherry, who is so passionate about what she does and so inspiring in what she does and so good at being a yoga instructor, but I'm able to go on my mat and just be me for 50 minutes. And so I think it's like 50% finding the activity or whatever it is that you like. But I think the other 50% is finding who you love to do that with. Because I think you can go to a yoga class, a spin class, a bike, whatever. It doesn't, whatever. And if you don't like who's teaching it, or you don't vibe with who's teaching it, or you don't vibe with the class, you're going to have a significantly less experience.
Yeah.
If you're sitting there, because then those thoughts of like work are going to creep in and you're like, whatever. But with my trainer and with Lynn and with Sherry, like they inspire me, they empower me. And so I am working, on the bike for up until the class starts, right? 6:30 spin up until 6:29, and yoga's at 5:30 up until 5:29. I am on my phone, I'm doing stuff, but then as soon as it starts, I put it away, and then I'm able to, have my 50 minutes, jam out, do yoga, do all of that, and leave that class knowing I'm off the walls. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, yes, let's go. Let's finish my day. And I need that to be a better producer. And so I think, it's finding what that is. And so it might not be yoga. It might not be spin. It might not be working out, but like find what that is for you and tap into that gives you that same euphoric high that it gives me. You know what I mean?
I do have a question for you though, because so say I were to work out here on my lunch break, I am not an attractive workout person. So I turn red and sweaty.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go back into the office. So
okay, so here's the thing. I work remotely, so I don't have that problem. But I get that. I get that. But at the same time, like if you know that's what you need, be unapologetically yourself.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what, guys? I need this to be myself and to show up as a better person.
Yeah.
And so when you find that, because I think, I can go on a whole rant about this, but I think that, in society, we are so attached to our phones and our computers and we treat them like our children, right? Like we are like I am victim of this. Like I am fully, I will not let my phone die. Like it goes right in the charger. I stick that with me. As much as we don't let our phones die and our battery drain on our phones, we can't do that to ourselves either. Yeah. And so just as much as I prioritize any work meeting, any call, I will never skip a call. I won't skip a meeting. I cannot skip these classes.
Yeah.
And I take it as equally as important because even though it's not a want to me anymore, it's a need.
Yeah.
And in order to be the producer I need to be, I need to take care of myself first. And that's why I mean, I can't wait to get in the car and go to Lynn's class and then go to yoga. Like, let's go. Yeah. I'm ready. But like, I need that.
Yeah. So you're going to come in and do inspirational talks.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Well, thank you.
Dallas, you were nodding. You have your own outlets, right?
Yeah. I feel like, kind of to your point, whenever I feel, especially working in the media industry, there's a lot that you put into it. There's a lot of energy that you put into it. But I think for me, a lot of the times, there's also a lot that I haven't put into it because you necessarily can't do it. You're kind of in somewhat of a little bit of a box where you're working a little bit. So for me, whenever I feel like, all right, I put everything I have into this, and now I feel a little bit drained, in my mind, it's not me having a lack of energy. There's a excess of energy that I haven't quite put out yet. So that energy for me goes into poetry. And that's where I get all the stuff that I haven't been able to say here out there. So now it's free. Now you're just letting things go, letting things flow. And all of a sudden now the energy's all coming out and there's more power in the poetry. There's more activity. There's more action in it. And now I feel a little bit more loose, a little bit more free, a little more exhale. And now I can come back to the job and what I'm doing there. So for me, whenever it feels like there's a low energy, in my mind, that's just energy that hasn't been used yet.
Yeah.
So just finding it to put it somewhere else. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to start using that. I love that.
I know. I love that. I wrote it.
Yeah. Did you write it down? I love that.
And
like, guys, if you want to come to class or yoga, like, I got you. But like, I love that. I love that.
because
it's like that energy that you have, like, all right, this energy, I can use this to go work out instead of, I'm exhausted kind of a thing.
Well, and I think if we were to explain to people that aren't in the industry, there's a lot of quick deadlines, a sense of urgency, people that need things on their time that always isn't your own timeline, and then creativity manifests in different ways. So it's a focused creativity. You might be a creative person, but you have to focus on this thing that is needed. So for you to have that other creative outlet, so things are coming out in your head and you can set that aside and then go to that. That's very powerful.
Yeah. And you just always have to remember to write it down elsewhere, because if I have it in my head, like, all right, I'm gonna do it later, right now I'm doing this. It comes to that moment, wait, what was I thinking about earlier? What was that line I was going to use in that poem? And now it's gone.
Yeah.
So just taking that quick moment to just write it down, so that way, all right, that's the spark that I had earlier. Let me go back to it and see if I can light that flame again.
Yeah.
I also think with like working remotely, especially in media, we are so accessible, like at all hours, right? Like we are always on our phones. We're always checking our computer, and I love it. But at the same time, as you said, what do you need to do to just shut all of that off, all the noise off, right? And so if it's poetry for you, that's amazing for me. It's working out. But it's what you need to make this industry a little bit more manageable.
Yeah.
Because I think even if you're not remote, that's just the nature of what you're doing.
This industry. It's
you
the
know,
nature
like
of this
you would
industry.
be doing that's. You're just always accessible, so sometimes you actually physically need to
it
set
gets
that
to
boundary.
The core point of like meditation too, where
Yes.
if you are doing something meditative, it's to like free your mind of that. But like you're saying, all those intrusions of work at all hours, it's kind of like the thoughts they tell you to like, okay, it can come and go, but you just need to like focus on your mantra or whatever you're holding to be able to let everything else go free.
And like, look, I'm not gonna lie, like, there are times in spin or in yoga where like those, I have this pitch due, but I can't focus on that right now. And I think that's why it goes back to what I'm saying of like, if you vibe with that instructor, you vibe with what you're doing, poetry, working out or whatever, suddenly those thoughts just don't matter because you're so focused on who's at the front of the room, what you're doing, what you're writing. But if you don't really fully love what you do, you're giving access, you're giving permission for those work thoughts to come in. And okay, I have to do this pitch. Oh wait, I got to move here. Oh, da da da. But when you're focused on jamming to the Jonas Brothers, because why not? None of that matters. And as small as that seems, right? Her adding Jonas Brothers into the class or whatever, right? It's really a big deal because it gives those in media that break of like what we need because we can't always be on.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people think. Being, behind these mics, we're always on. We're always on.
Yeah.
We're not, that's not human. We can't always be on.
Yeah.
So those who are on, what do those who are on need to like be on like that?
Yeah. Wow.
And as creatives, I think everybody in general is a little bit weird, but creatives were definitely weird, and things speak to us. Like if we see something or listen to something, it hits our brain in a different way. Where it's like, oh, we can actually turn everything off because this thing is actually speaking to us right now.
Yeah, it doesn't turn off. Like, I think
Yeah.
that we
No.
physically have to find ways to turn it off. And Pat, you also have another way, right? That
Yeah, I disappear on a bicycle for about 5 hours.
Oh, so you bike too?
Yeah.
well,
Oh, I love that.
You're
Okay, so
stationary.
you're on
He's-
stationary,
Yeah,
you're-
he's
Yeah.
moving.
Do you go to like actual like stationary classes?
No,
Okay, I think we should switch. I think we should try this.
I've done workout classes, and when I lived in New York, I went to yoga like
Yeah.
3 times a week, and I liked that because I feel like there was something communal about it that I enjoyed,
Absolutely.
especially when you get right to the end and you have like that last moment. And yeah, you get like that general sense of peace and you experience that with other people. I really enjoyed that. But when it comes to cardio or like anaerobic, like lifting weights, I have to just be by myself because I don't like I'll push myself, but I can't have other people like push me because then
valid.
there's this expectation of, I don't know. It's weird in my mind. I just like want to do it for myself. And I have this external person pushing me to do something. Then it almost, for me, feels like I'm somehow like cheating myself because it's like I have to like earn that by myself. And I think why I like cycling is because I'll set off and go out for, like 5 hours. I'll have like a block and I'll go really hard for like 2.5. And then if I've exhausted myself, I know that like I got to dig somewhere in the tank to get back because I call my wife too many times to just come pick me up if I get a flat tire because I don't want to fix that on the side of the road. So if I can't be calling if she has to come collect me just because I'm tired. So I know that I have to rely on myself in that way just to like push myself to get home. So yeah, I would say like cycling is like the big thing.
Yeah.
Love that.
In my creative side, just to keep me going, I feel like I've always wanted to do this since I was a kid, just work in like movies or television. And I was a little film nerd growing up, and I just every day I just feel lucky. So
Yeah.
even if I have a hard day, I can tell myself from somewhere to say you're doing this for a career. So buckle up.
Yeah,
Love
you have to
that.
remind yourselves
Yeah.
of the positives.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get in the weeds too much.
Yeah.
Lock in.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about how these things that some of us produce help other people and give other people levity. When we come back from the break, we're talking about sitcoms and reality TV and TV guilty pleasures. Group Chat on WBFO is next.
Support for Group Chat is provided by our members and by the National Comedy Center.
Every time that we breathe in now, there's a new beginning. We're soaring away, we're starting today, so dive with me. We're alive, 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 we're alive.
Thanks for joining us again on Group Chat. I'm your host, Bentley, and I'm joined by Pat Kelly, filmmaker and director of content creation at Buffalo Toronto Public Media, Dallas Taylor, performer, poet, and multimedia content editor at Buffalo Toronto Public Media, and Alexa Zappia, Emmy-nominated casting producer and founder and director of Rocks of Unity. Alexa, can you just tell us some of the shows that you've worked on?
Yeah, so I've done multiple seasons of The Bachelor. I've done Bachelorette. I've done Squid Game: The Challenge. Love is Blind, Married at First Sight, Worst Cooks in America, Claim to Fame, The Hustler, Don't Forget the Lyrics, Love Undercover, Peacock, Julia Child Challenge. I'm trying to think in order. So many. Supermarket Sweep, so many shows.
Oh, that's the show I want to go on is Supermarket Sweep.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
That
got
was so
this.
fun to cast. I loved it.
I mean, I'm always like, I know where they need to go first.
Yeah.
Go for the meat
Yes.
and the seafood, guys.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the shows that you watch as sort of just like a break. So comedy, reality TV. What is it about reality TV?
God, it is my guilty pleasure. I've been watching reality TV probably way younger than one should, but It's fine. But I used to watch it with my mom growing up, and then that still has become our thing. Like, it's so funny. I called my mom this morning. We hung up. We were just talking. And she called me back like 10 minutes later. And she's like, wait, can we talk about New York again? Like Real Housewives? And I was like, yes. So it's become like this family thing for me.
Yeah.
That now I am doing this and this is my job. I mean, I never applied for this. I was a teacher. And now I'm producing reality television.
No way. I did not know that.
Yeah. And I'm producing reality television. So this is crazy because I always loved like TV and stuff like that. Like when we go to New York, people like, oh, let's go shopping. Let's go. I'm like, no, I want to go on set. Like I love going to Jimmy Fallon and like that, whatever.
Yeah.
And now this is my job.
Yeah.
As of like almost 5 years ago, like this is not what I signed up for. Like this is not what I thought my life would be. And so to be able to not only like watch what I produce and know that I had a hand in it, but also produce the shows that I grew up watching, it's a crazy reality.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
So what shows did you grow up watching? What were your first reality shows?
My first was Bachelor.
Yep.
Which is so crazy that because it's funny, when I got the call that I was going to be casting that, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I'm going to be on The Bachelor. She's like, as a contestant? And I was like, no, not as a contestant. Not as a contestant. No. So Bachelor was a surreal one. Real Housewives of New Jersey was my first Housewives franchise. So I watch them all now. So to be able to like work with in a professional setting, in a personal setting with these housewives that I like grew up watching is crazy. And then to be able to cast some of the shows that I grew up watching, like Bachelor, Bachelorette, like that's crazy. And even in college, like I said, I went to school to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So
how did you get into this? And you're doing it from Buffalo.
I am, which is what I love the most.
Yeah.
I get to go out to LA and see all my friends and producers when I want to. But, like, I'm a Buffalo girl. Like, Buffalo. Like, can't find a bigger Bills fan. But, like, seriously. How did I get into this? Okay, so it kind of goes back to Rocks of Unity, actually, and what you've been mentioning. So when I was teaching, I saw that there was a huge uptick in bullying in my classroom when I was student teaching. And so I wanted to do something that kind of spoke to that. So shower thoughts are the best thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So I thought of a lesson plan in the shower where I would do my curriculum, and then each student was given a rock, like a garden stone, and they decorated to represent who they are. And not just like surface level, but below that. And then that was placed in a permanent installation, and you're able to see the diversity within, one classroom, one school, whatever. So that got really big, really fast. So the producers of Harry Connick Jr.'s show reached out to me when they heard about it because I did it at my college at St. John Fisher. And so the media started going there, and it just kind of went viral from there. And so with that, I had to learn my own PR, and I had to learn my own marketing like overnight. And so anyway, I was getting in touch with a lot of producers through, Harry's show, and working with a huge branch of like celebrities now who are doing Rocks of Unity and sending me a rock back and getting in that industry. And then I got a call from a producer that I was working closely with, and she was like, you would be good at national TV. Like, would you consider it? I was like, no, like, never, no. She's like, well, send me your resume, like, whatever. I sent her my resume for teaching. I sent her my resume, and that night I got a call from the producers of Don't Forget the Lyrics, and they're like, can we talk to you? And they didn't say interview. They said talk. So I'm like, sure, okay, we'll talk. I like to talk. So we talked, and they called me back at 11 o'clock that night, and I was like, you start tomorrow. And I was like, start what? Like, what am I doing? Like, what's this? What are we doing?
What have been some of your favorite shows to work on?
Oh, great question. Bachelor.
Yeah.
Bachelor, Bachelorette. You know that song? It's the most wonderful time of the year. That's what it's like for me when I cast Bachelor. Like, I love it. Yeah. I love it. So definitely Bachelor.
And we're coming back with a new season, right?
Yes, on Monday. Grand season. It's been so fun to cast. Oh, I'm so excited. And like the previews, guys, just trust me when I tell you this season is going to be so good. Just trust.
So I have not watched it. I like watched it in waves. So now I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah, you got to. It's good. Let me know.
So Dallas, do you watch any reality TV? Are you going to be watching The Bachelor now?
I do. I watch a little bit of The Bachelor. I've watched more so recently. I like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, And Love is Blind is one that I've kind of gone back and forth with. I watched this past season, and I have some thoughts, but those will stay until revealed. Until revealed. But yeah, I do tend to dabble in some reality TV. I like it.
What makes you like or watch reality TV or those shows in particular?
I think it's that idea of watching other people, and it always seems like it's other people on TV, and they're just caricatures of real people, where it's like, oh, I mean, I do see that kind of behavior out there, but that's kind of to the extreme kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of what I see when I watch a lot of reality TV. One of the first reality TV shows that I watched in passing was Flavor Flav.
Flavor of
Love.
Love. Come
Yeah.
on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just 'cause it was just because he's a legitimate caricature of a person.
I
Even
mean-
down to the jewelry.
That
And the Viking
like transformed
helmet.
his
Yeah.
career, or not transformed, reinvented, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody remember The Real World? Isn't that how it got started?
Yeah.
That was one
Miley?
of the original. Yeah.
Listen, I'm definitely dating myself on that one, but
Yeah.
you can still watch it. It's like you can still find it.
There definitely is
Doesn't say.
something to be said about its popularity because of just media trends in general. And, dating ourselves and going back to original, but like the learning, or TLC used to just be the learning channel, and it was more documentary based. And then they started getting into more scripted, unscripted, like that reality TV.
Or
And
MTV, you mentioned Flavor of Love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, MTV was probably the most jarring change into reality TV.
but even like Discovery, like the Discovery Channel just going to Discovery and
Yeah.
then it became so big it bought out Warner Brothers like altogether.
Yeah.
And I just like that is fascinating with the rise of it.
I mean, it just shows that there's always been a market for it in some
Yeah.
capacity.
There's like a massive appetite.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pat, any reality shows that you watch?
I watch a couple. I also used to work in reality TV a little bit. I edited for the company that used to make Love and Hip Hop, and worked in like the development department, editing like for like the casting director, like cutting
that.
all their sizzle reels. And I feel like afterwards, I don't know, maybe because I worked in it and they were like, you'll be here for 16 hours. Getting a little taste of how the sausage is made or seeing how it's made, afterwards it put me off for a while. Although I have been watching a couple shows. I like the uplifting ones, like Queer Eye. I love watching, and I like a lot of like home reno shows where they're like, we're gonna go in and like remake your house for you. So I like enjoy those because it's very wholesome and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, do we like the reality shows involving people because it's an escape or because we can identify?
I was just going to say, I think both.
Yeah.
I think both. I think it depends on, like, for example, for Squid Game, right? Squid Game, the challenge, you're taking everyday normal people who have stories just like you. And, like, for me, my thought as a producer, and I think that's with our team as well, is that we want to find people who everyone identifies with. So if it's, whether it's, whatever your story or this or that, like you want to be able to see a representation of yourself in some way on TV.
Yeah.
So when you're able to do that, that's when you know you've done it right. And so whether it's someone's story or whatever it is, when you're able to just relax and like feel like you belong.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in society, like no matter if you're 5 or 95, you just want to feel community and that you belong.
Yeah.
And so when you're able to see a representation of yourself on TV, then that you feel like you belong.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite side of it, when it's like the Real Housewives and they're like that 1% or whatever, and you're like, okay, my life is so crazy, but let's watch these bajillionaires because then I can escape from reality myself. You know what I mean? So it's two. I see it as two sides of it.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
probably depends on the show, too.
It does. It really
Yeah.
depends on the show.
Yeah, like you want to see in other relationships, like especially we'll call it toxic for now, but like you can just watch with someone else and they'll be like, oh, what he did was so stupid. You're like, well, actually, here's how you can you kind of see your own perspective, rationale, and they're like, actually, what he did there was kind of what I would do, and then you get in an argument with your partner. It's like, oh, you would do that, and then it's just a whole other thing.
or I can't believe that they would do that. But
Well, it's funny, what you were saying about Real Housewives of New York is exactly the reason. Like, I love Succession, and it's almost like it's just a different flavor of the same thing. Where I wanted to watch it because these billionaires are just going to be horrible to each other and cause all their own problems, and I'm here for it. I'm just going to turn off and watch this. So yeah, I feel like you end up taking out of it, like, you know, you go into it and you take out of it what you want, I guess.
But even with with those shows like Real Housewives or whatever, yeah, they're that 1%, but they're also still human. So they're on there talking about fertility issues or issues within their marriage or divorce or whatever, and those are like everyday normal human problems. So it's like you pair that 1% of, you know, going to this ridiculous, you know, $5 bajillion party, which you probably don't relate to, but then paired with a scene talking about infertility issues, and you're like, oh, I get that.
Yeah.
Or issues regarding like a grandparent's death, and you're like, oh, my grandparent just passed away. I get that. So it brings like a far-reaching reality kind of back down a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, even I think even with the Real Housewives, like they all weren't born into money, and they all didn't like grow up in that area.
Yeah,
so there's always some sort of backstory, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That sometimes people can relate to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
The grind, the hustle, to
right?
get to where you want to be. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, wow, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
The Bachelor, man, I don't even know. I mean, people have parties.
Hello. Every Monday in my house is Bachelor Monday.
Do you have like a grid? Do people try to like?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And we have themed dinners. Like, we make it a thing. Like, my friends come over and like, oh, yes.
So do you know what's going to happen then, like the whole season now, or like do you have like the inside scoop and like you have
I can't
to be?
really say.
Okay. All right.
So
That's
you
fair,
can't
that's
even
fair.
say, like, yeah, you're at these parties and you're like, nobody talk to me or ask me any questions, but let's have a party.
And it's every Monday. Everyone comes every Monday, and if you want to come, come. If you don't. But like, you know, we get the same amount of people every time, or you know. But it's fun. I love it. It's become, because this is the thing. I get to share my job with my friends.
Yeah.
Right. And like, that's a commonality.
And
So-
I think, I feel like it was the reality shows that really started a lot of these parties.
Yeah.
You know, like people had Survivor parties. I hear about Bachelorette parties all the time.
Bachelor Monday.
Yeah.
Bachelor Monday. You know what's up. We have the Mondays. Let's go. Yes. Yes.
And it's one of those things where you can kind of get together on social media, like on Twitter, just people tweeting about it, and like those shows, and then the episodic shows, like, oh, did you see that episode? Like, was it Game of Thrones? People talk about it while it's happening. I think reality is the same way, especially with Bachelor and Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Like, people just tweeting about it, like, oh, the memes and everything. That's the fun part too.
But it goes back to what I was saying before. It's that need to belong. It's that community that you need to have, that everyone human craves for. So if you feel like you belong because you are doing a Bachelor Monday, whether it's like you and your friends or you and the ether because you're tweeting about it, you feel like, okay, someone gets me.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, you know, I had this arts and culture writing job where I was writing for a website and newspaper, and I'm writing these like in-depth musical stories. And then they're like, we're going to have you start blogging about The Bachelor. I'm like, okay, really? And then, so I did. And then just the numbers, I was just like, I didn't even say anything like prophetic about it. I was just like, yeah, like, you know, and I just started to see like people just gravitating, like, okay, it's kind of cool to share these thoughts on these, you know, like people engaging with you. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that just spiraled into its own universe.
Yeah.
You should have blended the two and like done like, here's my Bachelor recap, and then here's the violent femmes oeuvre.
Here's what I think about the National. Okay.
And yes, no.
But no, and I mean, listen, we are invested in a lot of things outside of ourselves. You mentioned being a Buffalo girl, Alexa. I mean, we would be remiss if we didn't mention this big game this weekend.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's nice to know America is just rooting for the Chiefs to lose.
I'm like, come on. Like, we end every yoga class, namaste and go Bills. And that's how we end it. And it's just like, namaste and go Bills.
And I mean, listen, we are going to see the matchup of two big relationships here and handled in complete opposite ways.
Yes. Yes.
So we have Travis Kelce
Yes.
and Taylor Swift and Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld. And they couldn't be more opposite in how their relationships have been in the media. And you have, two America's sweethearts. Will they show Haley? The girl that made a jacket for her, she's local. Her name's Abigail. It's bleached by Abigail. She made I got a snowsuit from her that I wore the last game.
I
but
love
it's
her.
like, she is great. And she's the sweetest person, but same kind of thing. She kind of like started making stuff and now she is getting so much attention.
Yeah.
She's doing this as a career.
Yeah.
So do you think people are going to be watching? I mean, they're going to be watching the game, obviously, because we want the Bills to win. But how much focus do you think is going to be on that part?
I mean, I think that's like a big like pop culture moment.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know, a significant amount. I mean, like I feel like every Chiefs game, they like show Taylor all the time. So
They
it's
show
like,
her.
Where's Haley?
I know
Come
they don't.
on!
I mean, are they going to show her now? I mean, they haven't. And she's been at games.
I know she's been at games,
Yeah.
and she hasn't. But I don't know. Maybe for like the pop culture aspect of it, they might.
Do you think they're
But, like,
obligated now?
I don't know. But like, can we just say the Bills are going to win? Like,
Yeah.
can we just go in with that attitude?
I mean,
I
don't even. I'm not even going to know what to do. Like,
I've been
I'm already having
manifesting this.
Yes.
I've been manifesting this. I told my brother, I'm like, so you're gonna come home for the Super Bowl? He's like, we have like another game to play. I'm like, yes, so you're gonna come home for the Super Bowl.
I mean, I think it's just like the perfect matchup right now because it's the story of the underdog and the remaining champion cheaters.
Yeah.
The Kansas City Cheats.
Yeah.
That's what we call 'em.
Yes. Like
there
do you
are
know
New England
the
Patriots.
Nation fan base that will like when we win this game,
All across the country. You have friends all over the place.
Oh my
and everybody's
God,
talking
yeah.
about this.
Such a funny story. I just went to LA a couple months ago and I went to the Bills backer bar there. And I took one of my assistants from Squid Game with me. And she's never been to a Bills game, whatever. So I'm like, oh, let's go, Brianna, let's go to this Bills backer bar. So I'm hype. I'm in my element. I'm like, let's go. So we decided there's like a bar counter with bar stools and the couches. I'm like, I want to be comfortable. Like, let's sit on the couches. Like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, this guy comes up to me. He's like, so how do you know Kyle? I was like, who's Kyle? He's like, this is Kyle's birthday. I was like, Kyle, you let 2 Buffalo fans crash your birthday. Who are you? And show face. He's like, I know, but you looked safe. You looked either like you were from Buffalo or a huge Bills fan. So like, I just invited you. I'm like, that is the most Buffalo thing I've ever heard in my life.
So did you meet Kyle? Who was Kyle?
He was just some guy who had his birthday at this bar, this Bills bar. And I was like, what's next? Do we have candles? Like, do we have cake? Like, what do we do here? I just crashed your birthday.
I've heard that the Bills backer bar in LA, because I have a couple of friends that will go, is insane.
Oh, it feels like home. However, the one thing that really shocked me is people ordering wings at 10 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Because the games are there.
earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Still-
kind of nice that
still
the
good.
games are earlier.
Still good
though.
to eat
They're
wings
still
at 10.
good.
Yeah, it's look, yeah. But like, I was just so shocked. But the amount of like Bills fans.
Oh, yeah.
Like Kyle's birthday looked like they just came from Buffalo and just plopped in LA.
Kyle. Hi, Kyle.
Kyle, if you're listening,
But
thanks for letting us
celebrities
crash.
will show up too because
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo was
Yeah.
there because
Yeah.
F1 driver, a big Josh Allen
Yeah,
fan now.
it's called Busby's in Santa Monica.
really?
You guys gotta go.
Yeah, it's a thing. But that is the great thing about watching games on the West Coast is they're early.
Yeah. Oh, we had the whole day to just like do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I love the 1 o'clock games because they're earlier, but like at the same time, I feel like it like breaks up your day.
That's why I
Yeah.
love the London games. Because
Yeah.
1 at 10, and then you're done and have the whole day to
You have the whole
go
day.
grocery shop.
But it's different when they win. Like if they lose, now you have to the rest of the day. Like I don't want to watch.
No,
it.
you're
I don't
right.
wanna do anything else.
You're right.
Yeah.
Then your day,
I just
your
wanna
Sunday's-
cry.
Yeah,
I just wanna cry.
Sunday fun day's over. But you see that if you go out to watch a game, you'll be like, there'll be a DJ and everything, and the game's great, and then people are partying afterwards. But if they lose, it's like, "Mwah, mwah," and it's just like everybody just leaves.
They turn the lights on.
Yeah.
You're done. Peace out. You're done. But the amount of fan base that, yes, we have here in Buffalo, but that the nation, I mean, we weren't that good that long ago. You know what I mean? But we have those diehard fans who.
Well, that's why I loved watching the Dolphins games this year because almost half of the audience was Bills fans who traveled, and there were like videos on Instagram and TikTok of flights where the entire plane is just Bills fans and they're just singing.
Yeah.
Yeah. the shout song.
I mean, I was at the game last week, and the people next to me were from South Carolina. They flew up for the game. You know, they were the best. They were like hugging and jumping up and down. It was
like, but that's like the experience of being in Buffalo. It's so funny. One of my Bachelor girls from Joey's season came for the home. She has no affiliation with the building. She's not from here.
Yeah.
Came to Buffalo for the home opener this year. The most fun we've ever had. Like the most fun. Yeah. Tailgating and doing this and that. And that's what, at the heart of it all, when you talk about community and you talk about Buffalo, you can't find it in any other place but here. It's not like here.
Oh, yeah. I didn't go to any games this season, but I went to 4 tailgates.
Yeah.
Because people
do that.
They just invited me. And
yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to, I don't have tickets for the game. And they're like, no, just come by. And there were people I didn't even know. It was at the Bill's Mafia house, like right on the drive. My uncles were staying there. Like they met the owner somehow and ended up renting it on Airbnb.
So Buffalo.
Yeah, they like met him in Oklahoma City. Yeah. And he was like, oh, just, shoot me your number and just go on Airbnb and send me a message. And so they booked it for a game and came up. I went and saw them and wasn't going to the game, but I just hung out with them. And I didn't realize that whole parking lot next to the house, they bring in RVs and park there for the whole season. And you have to buy like a season pass essentially. To do
that's
that.
like everywhere. Like you can't even they opened the lots at 10 on Sunday for the game. And it was like
amazing.
6:30, yeah.
It's
But you had people
nuts.
like just passing food out. And
that's
I'm like, I don't even know this person.
Yeah.
And they're like, here's a whole sub. I'm
You
like,
cannot find that anywhere else.
I know.
It's funny because when Sandra from The Bachelor came to Buffalo, she's from Nashville. She was like, we don't tailgate. I'm like, you don't tailgate? And that was we actually made a TikTok on it because my raw reaction, I'm like, you don't tailgate? You just like go to the game, you show up? Like, what is this? You just hand them your ticket and that's it?
I mean, we tailgate for away games. I mean, Crespo, one of our DJs on the bridge, he DJs for the away games at Goodbar, and it's like you're at the stadium. Like people are like, it's packed. He's playing music in between like plays. Yeah. Like it's not even just like home games.
No, it's away. And so the fact that like I cannot comprehend that there are teams that don't do that. That you just show up. Like you're like, oh, it's a 6:30 game. I'm gonna show up at 6:20. What? Mm-hmm. No.
Dallas, do you tailgate or what does your cat think about the games? Like, do you watch them at home?
So the past couple of years, I've gone to just tailgates with friends. We hang out, even if we're not going to the game, we'll just hang out around the area. But when I'm watching at home, usually around 1 o'clock is my cat's nap time, so he's done for the day. But I'll watch from home a lot because especially around this time of year.
Yeah.
It's like I can
get hype.
Or anxiety until the game starts.
Oh
and
God,
warm.
yeah.
And warm. That's the main part.
That is a draw of watching it at home. Is you are warm, but
because I used to work there a while ago, and this is when they weren't good.
Yeah.
So they have to get people to go to those late games. So I got tickets to like this bad Jets game. It was a blizzard. It's like, all right, this is cool and all, but it's freezing out here.
Yeah, that's why you go to the home opener.
Yeah.
It's usually
this
nice
season was cold though.
Yeah, this season was cold.
I was in a Bill's Snuggie like down.
Oh, that's right.
Feet.
It was cold. Yes.
Yeah, we were not prepared for this. No. What?
Well, I think that's why Bleached by Abigail makes.
Yeah,
she makes the cute Abigail. Where
are you? Where's
she makes the cute winter outfits for girls because. Really, you can't use the jerseys and sweatshirts like for maybe one game. Yeah. And then you're layering in 7 layers. So. Yeah.
And you're into some black puffy coat and you're like, oh, what
go
team
Bills.
do you root for? Yeah.
And hey, it snowed in New Orleans, so they're waiting for us.
That was a whole thing on social. That is like
it's a sign.
It's a sign that like it's for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought that was I had to check that it wasn't like an AI thing. I'm like, this is fake.
No.
No,
it's real.
Can you imagine if that is the sign? I'm like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah. I believe in
take
signs.
Take the dome off the Superdome.
Yeah.
We're ready to play.
Let's go. Yes.
Oh, that's what we're going to go out with right now. Okay.
Go Bills, baby. Go Bills.
Go Bills. That wraps up today's episode of Group Chat for now. If you want to continue the conversation, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at WBFO News. I'd like to thank my guests, Pat Kelly, Dallas Taylor, and Alexa Zappia. I'm your host, Bentley. Have a great weekend, and thanks for listening.
Support for Group Chat is provided by our members and by the National Comedy Center.